Hello everyone, Justine Andrea here from Bible Journaling Ministries creative team, and today we're going to be using our Posca pens. We're also going to be using a pencil, some glitter glue, and watercolor paints, just a little bit, so if you want to get those ready. Also, I'm using the Job 37, 9 through 10 printable from Momentum. If you're part of that, you'll get that in your bonus pack. If you're not, then you can go ahead and purchase it in the Bible Journaling Ministries store. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. So a lot of times people are intimidated to draw. They say, well, I'm not an artist and I can't, do any drawing, but I'm going to challenge us today, and we're going to do some swags here. We're going to kind of mimic what's on the Faith Dex card there. And then we're going to go ahead and draw a swag, just a simple pine type swag, reminding me of the winter season this time of year. So I'm gonna draw the swag, trying to get the placement right, and then I'm gonna add we're gonna add some pine needle like looking things and some leaves. So for the leaf part, you just want to make little drops to make it look like a leaf. And I've curved my line a little bit so kind of it looks like it's swagging down. Now the great thing of using a pencil is you can erase. So if something doesn't look right, then just erase it because it's not permanent and readjust it. So I'm just readjusting the swag a little bit because I want to put another one on top, and the garland would have been too close. Fairly simple. That's all you need to do for that part right there in drawing it. And then we're going to go ahead and, excuse me, pull out our Posca pens. These are paint markers that I love to use. You can buy them on Amazon. I use them a lot in journaling because they don't bleed through your page, and they have a nice bright color to them, and they come in many different colors, as you can see. I think I'm going to go with gold and the two greens and probably pull out the black. I'm going to go with the darker green on this one here, and I'm just going to draw the stem. And then I'm just going to do like a squiggle to make the pine needles. I thought the printables that Tracy gave us were really cute, and they just made me want to curl up on the couch in a room with some pillows. And I thought, why not decorate that room? So we're just going to make little squiggly lines to represent our little pine needle swags. It's as simple as that. If you want to practice on a separate piece of paper, go ahead, because I know some people get a little bit nervous doing it right away in their books. And you have to excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold today. And then we're just gonna leave that there. And I'm gonna take the gold and I'm gonna just come down the middle to make the stem of this other one. Kind of reminds me a little bit of eucalyptus. And then I'm gonna use the green again. I thought about using red, but then I decided to use green. You could use red, make it look more like a berry if you wanted to, but I'm using a lighter green. And honestly, I don't see why you can't do this with regular markers either. I just prefer the paint markers. Remember to do a little drop on the end of the twig there. So this is our wall decor for our page. And like I said, we're kind of incorporating a little bit of hand drawing in with Tracy's printables, the Bible Drawing Ministry printables. And I like to do that just to challenge myself every once in a while. If you're a beginner and you're not comfortable with doing it, by all means, just go right ahead and use the printables because there's plenty there to use. So I'm just outlining it in the darker green. I guess you can outline it in black if you wanted to. But this is a very simple garland. And then we're going to complement it with pine needle snowflakes. I just thought that that would look cool. So we'll see how it goes. Just doing a little green highlight in the pine needles. You don't really see it that much, so you don't really have to, but I just tried it out. And then, excuse me, I'm sorry. I am going to go with a little bit of black just down the center of the branch to give it a little bit of a highlight. I just thought it was a little bit too green. There we go. Then I was going to put like berries in the center of that with the red. That's what I was going to do. But then I changed my mind. So I'm going to go with the gold that I have. And I'm going to make the garland. Silver might look good too because there's a lot of gray in the printables, but totally up to you whether you want to use gold or silver. And there's different types of paint markers. One is that one I was just using is more like a paintbrush, and then this other Posca one is more like a pen. So depending what you're doing and what type of marker you like to use, then they're out there. Okay, next up, I'm going to go ahead and kind of figure out where I want the images to go. I'm going to have the plant on top of the table. And instead of the little red dots that I was going to do, I thought it would look cute to have that wreath there. So we're going to put that there. And then I'm going to surround the chair with some pillows. I mean, how cute is that? But then I said, the background is just a little too plain. Just a little bit. So I was thinking, what can I do to give it some color? So as I'm thinking, I'm going to cut out my little friend here, the girl. And actually, while we're doing that, we can review Job 37, 9 through 10. And it's on the margin cut out there. Out of its room comes the storm, and cold out of the north. By the breath of God, ice is given, and the width of the waters is frozen. And I like the printables here that she has warm up with Jesus, because I could just picture just sitting like this girl is with my gray hair. Thank you, Tracy, for adding some gray hair in there. Highlighted gray hair. And then just sitting there, maybe with not even coffee, but maybe a hot cocoa with the whipped cream on it. And thinking about the warmth of God's love and Him surrounding us and protecting us. And how awesome is that? So my, I don't know if it was my printer, probably my printer just kind of messed, I didn't like the, how light my printer made that plant, so I just went over with a little bit of green Posca just to pop it out a little bit, just to, I do love these colors that she used. They're kind of like a muted color, and I love the pink and the gray. I love that for non-traditional Christmassy wintertime colors. All right, so we need to do something about the background because it's a little too plain. I'm going to think on that for a second, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to try to figure out how I made that snowflakey thing. So basically it's a line across, a line slanted front and back, and then two other ones in between. So that you might want to practice, because I got a little confused myself on this part. So it's basically just making lines like a snowflake, but instead of doing the snowflake part, we're actually going to add pine needles to it. And then a little bit of glitter. And I'm thinking 3 is probably good enough. You know, you like to do things in odd numbers when you're adding stuff. So I'm just going to add one more down here, across, diagonal, diagonal, and then in between. And if you get it wrong, guess what? It's okay. Either erase it or just leave it be, because nobody's going to judge it at all. All right, so I'm still thinking about that background. I'm going to go for the watercolors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the gray, a gray on the bottom, a green kind of where she's sitting, and then like a pink above. And this type of paper obviously isn't watercolor paper, so it's not going to be as willing to move around as much as if you had a watercolor paper. So, and I wouldn't soak it too much. You kind of have to have a an even ground there. Let it move a little, but it's not going to move as much. And you can't really see it that good in the video here, but it's just a very subtle background, and that's exactly what I wanted. So again, I'm doing a gray on the bottom, a green in the middle, and then the pink up top. Just going right over what I did there, not over the paper of the, if I had put paper down, I wouldn't want to go over that, you know, any of the images. So I'm doing that before I put my images on. And then gray. I added a little gray up there too, because I can. And then definitely the pink. It's very, very subtle, but I like it. I hope that you are all staying healthy through the season. I hope that you're finding rest in the Lord. Staying firmly planted in the reason for the season. There we go. You can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see. So again, this is a fairly simple page, but yet you're allowing yourself to be creative by giving yourself the freedom to draw a little bit and to add a different styles. And then you can just go back over a little bit, and some areas that you want to make a little bit darker, go ahead and do that. And also, if there's some of the white or the off-white of the page showing through, that's fine because it just gives it some texture. So we just painted the walls of our journal. Now, if only decorating your home was that easy. And that's all you needed for the watercolor part of it. And I'm going to go over to these snowflakes in a second. I'm just going to go ahead and dry my page a little bit. If you don't have a dryer, they're fun to use because they help you to go a little bit quicker so that you can finish your designing and not have to wait so long. Just a quick, it was just water, so that's a quick thing. So go ahead, place my my little seat there, and I'm gonna sit on top of that seat. And I'm using white glue. You can use a glue stick, that's perfectly fine. And then we're just going to place it around, and you can place them wherever you want. I just thought that it just, in my mind, I was thinking of room and just being surrounded by the comfort of the hot cocoa and the pillows and the plant. Reminders of the comfort of God and being planted in Him in a safe place. Grab the table. Now, when you're working with wet glue, you have to be careful because it dries quick, and also it's hard to get up. And what I realize is that my table's a little bit too close to my swag. So I'm hoping and praying that I can get it off. So let's see if I can do it. Grab some tweezers. And I am able to do it. I hope that you guys enjoy the videos. I hope that they inspire you to try something a little bit different and to add to your journaling time with the Lord. We all know that this is a time when we just focus on Him more than anything else. Being creative is just the second part of it. But tying in the scripture with an image really does help me to set it in my mind and remember things. Little, maybe even spark a little word or something like that in my mind as I'm flipping through my journal and remembering what this scripture is about. So I'm going to add the pillows. I just love the idea of just being surrounded by pillows in a nice comfy home. And let's add our wreath up here. You probably could even add a ribbon if you wanted to. I didn't do that, but you could probably add a ribbon, add a little extra. Get the paint marker to work. I'm trying to see if I wanted silver, but I'm going to stick with the gold. And even here, the silver marker is not working very well, so I am gonna stick with the gold. Now I'm gonna do the one across So I'm kind of doing opposites. I think I mess up a little bit, but opposite gold and then the other one blank. Because the gold we're going to actually do kind of like we did on the swag, and we're going to add some pine needles. The other one we're just going to keep a plain, I kept it a plain dark green, but you can keep it whatever color you want. And I'm just going to go through and do the gold first. So we're going to go ahead and add the gold to each one of the stars. And then I'm going to add the green. I'm using the light green to go ahead and do the pine needles like I did before on the swag. And you'll just go all the way through. And you want to do opposites. That's the key, to do opposites. I started getting myself a little confused. So I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I think I did mess up on one of them, but I was able to fix it. So I'm like, wait a minute. Opposites. And then in between the gold is a green line. So you have your gold primary, which was across, diagonal, and diagonal. And then in between those is a green. All right. So we're going to go ahead and add some more of the pine needles and then the dark green in between. And then what we're going to do is I'm adding some glue dots, red glue dots, or you can use red stickles to the green lines that are sticking out. So it's kind of like a green snowflake. I just thought it was a little bit different to represent like the snowflake of the coolness of the winter outside, but yet being warmed up inside in this comfy little room that we're sitting in. You could probably add maybe some sequins to the background too, maybe some clear sequins that represent maybe a little bit of a snowy theme if you wanted to go that way. I'm going to grab my, this is just regular glitter glue. Glue down my wreath. And I'm going to add some of the red glitter in the circles on the printed wreath there. It's always good to test it before you start applying it. Otherwise, sometimes it makes a big blotchy mess on your page. So I'm doing the bigger ones, and then I'll go through and add a couple of the little ones. I'm not going really heavy on it. I'm just going a little light just to give it glitter, because glitter and sprinkles you can't go wrong with. And then dotting around, not on the pines, but on the solid line. And then I was going to use these pom-poms on the garland, but then I thought it would probably go better with the theme just to add the red. You could probably even use pink glitter. I'm going to sneeze. excuse me, use pink glitter, and it would look just as nice. I thought the red just gives it an extra little pop to the page. So just, again, just adding some dots to the garland, to the middle of the pine, star pine snowflakes, I guess we'll call them. You could probably even connect them too. That might look cute. And I love mugs. If you know me, I collect mugs. I love them. So I have to put the mug on there with the hot cocoa because that just screams winter to me. And I'm here in Florida, and my husband, I drive him crazy because if it's too hot here for December, I'm turning the air conditioning down and pretending that I'm up in Maine. And then I like to use the bigger wording, which is on one of the other printables, in the set. So I'm going to add that onto there. It takes a little adjusting. I lived in Maine for 10 years. I'm originally from New Jersey, moved to Maine for 10 years, and I loved it. I did not want to move, but we had to move down here. And the first Christmas here was really weird, but we've gotten used to it. My younger kids have not really seen snow. My older ones have, but the younger ones would like to see snow. And when we moved down here, I think there was at least 4 feet of snow up in Maine. So it was really, really cool. But sometime, I know if I go up there, I'm going to freeze myself. I will freeze to death. No doubt. So I'm just going to place that there to remind myself to warm up with Jesus and my hot cocoa. Again, I hope this encourages you to have a little fun and try a little something different, a little different technique. And don't be afraid to start trying to draw, because just starting and just practicing is where you're going to get. I mean, it's fine to use printables, but challenge yourself. And I don't know if you've ever seen these, but this is a shimmer brush, and you really can't see it that great on the video, but it really adds just a fine shimmer all around the page to give it a little frostiness. There, anything that glitters, I'm there. As always, I hope this tutorial encouraged you to dive deeper into the Word. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can be notified when we release new videos. I hope that you will enjoy this technique and give it a try. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.